Welcome to Gabon 24. This is your G24 newscast in English. Now, let's hear our top stories. Senegalese former President Abdoulaye Wade was visiting the current head of state Macky Sall at the presidential palace to discuss matters related to the upcoming national dialogue and political statuses. A low-profile conservative law professor has beaten a charismatic media magnate released from prison earlier on last week in Tunisia's presidential election runoff. That's all for our top stories. Stay with us for more details. We're opening this newscast with Senegal. In Dakar, former President Abdoulaye Wade was received on Saturday with all honors at the Palace of the Republic by Head of State Macky Sall. Both men had a very long exchange. Let's just watch a report from Foti B. Muleka.
In the framework of the national dialogue, the President of the Republic, Macky Sall, and his predecessor, Mr. Abdoulaye Wade, agreed last Saturday to deepen discussions on the status of the leader of the opposition as well as the electoral process. The exchange between the two men lasted almost 3 hours. The above aspects were among the points raised in the statement read before the media by Mayoro Faye, a close person of President Wade. Indeed, during their meeting, the two hosts gave a broad overview of the national political situation characterized by questions related to the electoral process, the status of the leader of the opposition, which will be taken up once more in the framework of the national dialogue. The same source reports that President Abdoulaye Wade has made recommendations to the President of the Republic, Macky Sall, to do its best to control the management of oil, gas, and other natural resources. Mr. Mayoro Faye also revealed that the two hosts addressed the sub-regional and African situation dominated by security issues. He ended up reporting that due to their perfect convergence of views on the issue, they committed themselves to joining forces for the return of peace and the consolidation of stability. They urge all Senegalese and Africans to cultivate peace by focusing on Africa's dialogue and interests.
Not far from there, we're heading to Ivory Coast, where the most youngest and media-savvy opposition figure, Guillaume Soro, said that he'll run in next year's presidential election. Thibaut Otungu has more in store for us.
Generations and Peoples in Solidarity, created through a participatory drive of citizens, aims to be a representative cross-section of Côte d'Ivoire, said Mr. Soro in front of Ivorian nationals in Valencia, Spain, at a meeting called a Crash Party 2019. He congratulated the winners of the competition, who through a technical jury helped develop a slogan, motto, and anthem for generations and peoples in solidarity. Each received an award at an official ceremony. Guillaume Kigbafori Soro, 47, is confident in his future race and is sure to still have 30 to 40 years of political life ahead of him, unlike those who claim that he is finished. Like Barack Obama, he would have wanted to be president at that age of 47. The GPS party in creation should be officially launched soon and its manifesto unveiled.
Now we're heading north to Tunisia, where the people have high expectations but nevertheless hopes for the future. Let's hear their reactions on this report from Thibaut Otungu.
The Tunisian people have high expectations towards the presidential election, which conducted its second round on Sunday, hoping the new president will create a better society. In total, 700 foreign observers and over 15,000 Tunisians were monitoring the election process. They were trained by the election authority, the civil society, and the political parties.
There are no irregularities. The voter turnout was low at the opening of the polling station. The security is guaranteed by the army, the police. The election was smooth in the morning.
A total of 7,065,885 voters are recorded in the electoral register. Mourad Zeni, a voter, said the election is the only way to decide the future of the nation.
The situation is complicated in the country, but voting is the only solution. This is how we decide the future of our children.
The voters also expressed their expectations towards the new president.
We dream of a better Tunisia. I hope the new president will eradicate terrorism from the country and create a favorable social climate.
The new president must serve the country and give priority to the national interest.
According to the Constitution, the Independent High Authority for Elections has 3 days after the election day to release official results.
We're still in Tunisia, where Khaled Said, the law professor, has been officially declared the winner of the election. Let's watch this biography of the Tunisian new president, Maria Batista.
Kais Said, born in February 22, 1958 in Tunis, is the son of Monsef and Zakia Said. His family, a middle-class member, is of fairly modest but intellectual origin. He grew up in Radeh suburbs of the middle class in the south of Tunis. He did all his studies in Tunisian public education. Married to a judge and father of 3 children, Kais Said is a reserved man whom the Tunisians discovered after the 2011 revolution. The man very quickly made to return an audience to fell under the charm of this teacher of right pedagogue, often invited on television set to give his opinion as an expert in constitutional law. A constitutional lawyer, he retired a year ago from public university. Kais Said has this particularity which immediately distinguishes him from the other experts is his perfect mastery of the literary Arabic language, which gives his intervention a peremptory aspect. A product of the Tunisian education system, Kais Said holds a degree in advanced studies in public law from the University of Law and Political Science in Tunis, which he obtained in 1985. He continued in 1986 with a diploma from the International Academy of Constitutional Law, which he later enriched in 2001 with a diploma from the International Institute of Humanitarian Law in San Remo. Kais Said has been elected to the Tunisian presidency with 76.9% of the vote, according to an exit poll that was announced by the Tunisian public channel.
Heading south in Mozambique, where the supporters of the Renamo, the national resistance of Mozambique, and those of the outgoing president gathered for the official closing of the campaign of the general election of October 15th. Futi Bimulika has more in store for us.
It is the last day of election campaign for presidential candidates in Mozambique. On Tuesday, the people will elect the president, his deputies, and his governors.
We all approve the electoral law, so we all have to respect it. If that is the case, then the elections will be free, fair, and transparent. Of course, if they don't comply with the law, then the vote won't be fair.
Outgoing Mozambican President Filipe Nyusi held his last campaign meeting before the October 15 elections. 13 million Mozambican voters are expected at the ballot box, while the civil society announces the presence of ghost voters on the electoral list. However, under the peace agreement signed with Renamo, Frelimo knows that it will have to give up its absolute political control over the country.
Everyone, and not just me, everybody hopes that the Rimano and Osufo nomad will win this election so that the situation of the Mozambique people improves.
E tem que ganhar as eleições para o bem do povo moçambicano.
The people are going to show us how much they trust us, show that they like us better. Our slogan this time is to say that the thefts won't make it.
Now in Gabon, where there is a short message from the presidency of the republic. The Gabonese president's head of state, Ali Bongo Ondimba, will hold a cabinet meeting this Wednesday, October 15, 2019, at 10:30 a.m. at the presidential palace. All members of government present on the national territory must take part. Now, let's end this newscast with President George Weah, who, during his official visit to Gabon, marked a halt stop at the Nkok Special Economic Zone this Saturday, October 12, to taste a Gabonese approach on industrialization. Thibaut Tougou has more in store for us.
It is in contact with the social, economic, and industrial reality of Gabon that the Liberian head of state continued his stay in Libreville. For Judge Toulon Mane Opon Ousmane Weah, the economic zone with favorable tax laws of Nkok was all well suited to soak up the vision of development spurred by President Ali Bongo. Initial act of this visit was the presentation of the Special Economic Zone located 27 kilometers from the Gabonese capital. The site, which stretches over 1,126 hectares, is the very expression of the diversification of the Gabonese economy. 143 investors have set up in this space. It is an odyssey, a real discovery for President George Weah and co. of the natural and human potential in the growing wood and metal industries. He is a leader visibly moved and well convinced of this work that he couldn't do otherwise than planting a tree as the symbol of hope for the industrial future of Gabon and the African continent before going to the new port of Ovendo, where he went in contact with the operation of port infrastructures. President George Weah first congratulated the good governance operated by GSAID in the framework of the public-private partnership linking it to the Gabonese state, while congratulating the model of diversification of the economy chosen by the highest authorities of the country, at the head of which President Ali Bongo Ondimba. President Weah then stated that he had made a trip to Nkok Special Economic Zone to immerse himself with the procedures and facilities offered by the GSAID and adapt them to the context of his country.
Well, we've come to the end of our newscast, but before we go, let's take a look back at our top stories. Senegal's former President Abdoulaye Wade visiting current head of state Macky Sall at the presidential palace to discuss matters related to the upcoming national dialogue and political statuses. A low-profile conservative law professor has beaten a charismatic media magnate released from prison last week in Tunisia's presidential election runoff. That's all for our newscast today, but keep watching us on YouTube Live. Thank you. Bye-bye.